Hi, everyone. Welcome to the peer support during alcohol withdrawal mini video. My name is Courtney Lavelle, and I'm the Director of Practice Improvement and Consulting at the National Council for Mental Wellbeing. I am really happy to be here with you all today and really grateful to be talking about the role of peer support during things like alcohol withdrawal treatment. I've spent my entire career in public health, primarily working in the addiction treatment and recovery space. For the last 15 years now, I started as an addictions counselor, working in outpatient treatment before I moved to more macro level recovery support work. And for the last decade or so now, I've been working specifically around peers, working on curricular development, peer training, workforce development, certification, and I'm a peer myself, so I'm incredibly passionate about the work that we all do. As a person in recovery myself for nearly 17 years now, this work is near and dear to my heart. So I'm happy that you've all joined me today, and I hope that you pick up a few useful skills that you can bring back with you in the work that you do every day. First, let's talk about some numbers. Alcohol use and misuse is a global issue and one that certainly affects the US. Over 134 million Americans aged 12 or older drank alcohol in 2023. Just over 10% of that same group had an alcohol use disorder. And unfortunately, about 95,000 people die from alcohol-related causes each year. That's equivalent to 3,800 school buses full of people dying. MetLife Stadium can only hold 82,500 people. So we are losing stadium full of people every year to alcohol-related deaths. Alcohol misuse and withdrawal are real issues that we must do as much as we possibly can to mitigate. Thankfully, there's some help. The growing peer workforce really can serve as an additional layer of support to those who are struggling most. Aside from the fact that peers help with engagement and retention in treatment, they also offer hope that healing is possible. All of you out there doing this work every single day have such a profound opportunity to make a positive difference in the lives of those you are helping. Alcohol use disorder is a very real issue. The numbers are striking, the pain is palpable, yet one of the greatest issues people who are dependent on alcohol still face today is stigma. People with alcohol use disorder are still not believed or trusted or valued in many parts of our society. Too often, we still approach chaotic alcohol use with this urgent need to just make it stop, and an irrational belief that if we can just cease the substance use, the person will suddenly be better. But we know that's not true. Healing in or from alcohol use disorder is so much more complex than that. As peers, we don't know exactly how to help every person every time. That's not our role. There is no perfect recipe. Different individuals with different trauma and different life experiences need different things and pathways in order to heal. The person who truly knows the most, who has the most insight as to what they really need, is the individual themselves. But we have so much more work ahead of us to get to that societally accepted truth. And as such, far too often, it is the individual who is struggling the most, who is at their lowest of lows, desperately trying to seek help for withdrawal, who is met with resistance and judgment and barriers and stigma. As peers, as oftentimes the first individuals to greet those in their deepest suffering, we have a unique opportunity to be the radical compassion they least expect and so deeply need in those moments, because those moments can change the entire trajectory of a person's life. Now, although it is not the role of peers to identify alcohol withdrawal symptoms in clients, it is helpful to know the signs and symptoms, especially if alcohol withdrawal is not part of your personal healing journey. So what is it? What is alcohol withdrawal syndrome? It's a set of symptoms that can occur after a sudden decrease in alcohol use after a period of heavy use. Symptoms typically include anxiety, shakiness, sweating, vomiting, fast heart rate, mild fever, as well as some others you can see in the image on the screen. More severe symptoms could include seizures and delirium tremens, commonly referred to as DTs, which DTs can be fatal in untreated clients. People who do experience DTs have up to a 37% mortality rate, which is why alcohol withdrawal is considered so dangerous and needs to be supported by medical professionals, not peers alone. So what is our role? If our role is not to identify the alcohol withdrawal symptoms, what is it? Well, primarily, we show up. As I stated already, peers are often one of the first interactions that people have when they're seeking care. We have the opportunity to set an amazing tone of compassion and care early in the treatment and healing process. We actively listen. Our role is to always remain curious and not pass judgment. We don't need to add to the stigma that individuals are dealing with on a regular basis. Do not let your own experiences seep into your assumptions of their experiences. Ask open-ended questions and help identify the strengths the individual has in these really important moments. We share our experiences where appropriate as a means to cultivate hope. If it's appropriate, share experiences that could support the individual in that moment. We don't need to hear about your withdrawal story, but it might be helpful to share things that uplifted you in your journey when you were struggling or just starting out. We collaborate to help identify wellness goals. While someone is experiencing acute withdrawal symptoms, we don't want to focus on creating their whole wellness plan. However, it could be a good time to identify high-level goals. What's motivating them to change their behaviors right now? Why are they here? We seek out resources and support when needed. As the peer connected within the local community, what are the resources you can share with this person? Are there recovery community organizations around them? Do any local businesses offer drop-in or even free wellness services? This resource brokering recovery capital is one of the assets you bring as a peer in the situation. Share those assets. We maintain connection. Stay connected, follow up. And if their treatment process moves them to other spaces or other facilities, try to provide a warm handoff to other peer services when it's possible. And what are some opportunities here? What are some opportunities for us as peers working with individuals dealing with alcohol withdrawal to really help make a difference? First and foremost, we need to ground in purpose. It's important to help gauge if the person has their own intrinsic motivation for this change, or are they mandated into stopping their use? Either way, as peers, we're going to support them. But it really is crucial for the person going through this very painful process to be able to identify their own motivations, their own internal motivation. What is it that they can grab onto to help get them through some of these really tough moments? And like I said on the last slide, always we listen, continue to check in with them, find out how they're feeling. Are they feeling optimistic about making it through this withdrawal process? Do they want to go to treatment thereafter? Or are they feeling overwhelmed and scared, isolated, and alone? Find out how they're feeling, ask questions, create a plan. How are they going to get through the immediate withdrawal? Do they have a wellness recovery plan already? Depending on the scenario you're meeting this person in, maybe the best plan is to establish contact with them so they have a peer to connect with when they're discharged, say, from a medical setting they might be in. Build support. Who are their allies? Do they have friends and family willing to support them? What resources are in the local community that you may be able to connect them with? The more resource, the more support they have, the easier the process will be to help them really create behavior change. And finally, walk alongside them. be present. As peers, we have the wonderful ability to truly be present with a person and not pressure them towards any specific outcome. More often than not, people need to just feel heard and be seen by someone. And we can continue to do that as peers. Okay, so we've talked about our role, we've talked about some of the opportunities. Here are a few reminders I'm really hoping that you can take with you beyond this video. Remember that withdrawal is real and it is painful, whether it's part of your recovery journey or not. And even if it is, each experience can be different. There are not quick solutions. Even after you get through the immediate acute withdrawal process, post-withdrawal syndrome is also real. So individuals going through this will need support and likely long-term support. And as a peer, hopefully you have the ability to do so. And if not, you can maybe find an opportunity for a warm handoff to another peer who can stay with the person as they journey through their early recovery process. The peer role is unique because of our lived and living experiences, but our experiences are not the other person's experiences. Remember that this experience of withdrawal and healing is unique to each person. We all have our own stories. We all have our own struggles. We all have our own trauma, but we also all have our own assets and insights and art to offer. So work with the people you are working with to help them either identify their art and their asset within, or remember what it is. And definitely stay in our lane. Role clarity can be a bit of a struggle sometimes for peers in various settings. It's not always clear what is the role of a peer. So make sure that you are firmly aware of your role and that you're not drifting into other roles. We are not case managers. We are not junior counselors. We're certainly not medical professionals. So stick to your role as the peer, continue to listen actively, walk alongside someone, and share resources where you can. I know as humans, we tend to overcomplicate things. I'm guilty of this myself. And I think with things like addiction, alcohol dependency, we can overcomplicate that too. Healing from alcohol withdrawal, alcohol dependency is not an easy journey, but sometimes the best solutions are the simplest ones. I had the pleasure of presenting with Dr. Vivek Murthy, our Surgeon General, several years ago, and he shared this quote and has really resonated with me and stuck with me. He said that as we pursue new cures, we cannot forget compassion and love are the oldest medicines we have. Their power to heal is immense. As we pursue new cures, we cannot forget that compassion and love are the oldest medicines we have. Their power to heal is immense. So no matter what your background is, no matter how you got to the point you're at today, where you find yourself helping somebody managing alcohol withdrawal, the reality is intrinsically, we all have the things inside of us that we need in order to heal. Sometimes we need compassion and love and kindness in order to remember that or discover those assets that we already have. And as peers, we have the unique ability to offer that to people when they need it most. Thank you so much, and good luck in your work. And thank you for the work that you do every day.